Paul, Chris, thanks for joining us here at AWE headquarters, here in our reference cinema. Got some of your products behind. Do you want to introduce yourselves for those that don't know who you are?
Yep, go on then, I'll start off, Stuart. So, Paul Wilson, Business Manager, Epson UK, responsible for Pro Home Cinema and Pro Commercial Projectors as well. So, all the really cool stuff.
Very nice.
Chris Sullivan, Pro Home Cinema Account Manager for the UK. Been with Epson 12 years.
How did you start with Epson?
So originally I used to own a Sevenoaks Sound and Vision franchise, so early 2000s. Came out of that, went into the custom integration side of things, and then my predecessor, a guy called Phil Gibbs, who's still in the industry, approached me as he was leaving to join Wirestorm, and he said, I think you might have a role that's suitable for you.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, really.
Paul, yourself?
Very, very different, really. Out of university, doing some early jobs, more manual kind of stuff, aircraft parts, warehousing, and opportunity came up at Epson for a junior role within the team as a support role within projection, which I knew very little about. Of course, Epson, everyone knows about printers, but projection was a whole new thing for me. But it sounded interesting, sounded like I could apply some skills of business and sales into that, and fell into the team in a junior product role, and that was 15 years ago.
Excellent. So 15 years, that's 10 years, 15 years, going a bit further back. AWE90 this year. So, part of the reason for this video, just sort of marking our partnership for over a decade. So that's obviously, something we're very proud of, and thank you, for working with us and helping us, support customers and so on. But Epson's got quite a lot of history as well. Paul, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, certainly
Tell us a bit about that.
On the projector side, goes back many decades now. So 1989 was the first Epson 3 LCD projector. So I was a little bit too young to understand that at the time. But yeah, I mean, we've been world number one since 2001. So over 20 years at the top now. It's a core expertise of Epson. I mentioned printing, but projection is the yin and the yang really of the business that supports what we do. And obviously Japanese heritage, lots of precision and constant development in those products over time. So I've seen a lot of development in projection in the 15 years that I've been around, that's for sure.
Yeah. And tech, we all love tech. That's kind of, most people in this industry come from either like musical side, musicians, or but it's the tech that eventually wins, and the experience, I think, of what it is we do eventually is you're in our case sitting on a seat listening, watching to a movie or music. So I mean, Chris, what do you remember maybe as a nipper or in more recent times? What's your kind of something that really stands out in your mind tech wise?
There's probably two things for me. So firstly, as a nipper, a long time ago, so when I was about 5-6 years old, I remember my dad coming home with what in those days would have been a tape deck, a stereo tuner, and two wooden floor standing speakers, and not being allowed to touch them. But every Sunday night, the top 40 would be recorded on it, and that was my sort of earliest sort of memories of tech or being around it. More latterly, I think probably early 2000s was my fascination with the Pioneer plasmas of old. So
Curos.
what were the Curos, the 436 SE or
PDP, V436.
That was it. So that sort of got me hooked into the visual side of things, and weirdly sort of led into me getting involved with Sevenoaks back in the day, taking that franchise on. Bit of a strange.
You've seen the retail side and then on the manufacturer side.
So bit of an understanding of visual and audio, really. That sort of led me into the AV world, and that was 25 years ago, so 23 years ago.
And still going.
Still going.
So obviously, our relationship goes back some way, like we said, over a decade. Paul, what's something that people might not know about the partnership with AWE? Or, I'm not asking for a story on me personally. Let me be clear.
Not enough time for that.
Exactly. No, I can edit that. Cut.
No, I think clearly it's been a good relationship, or we wouldn't still be here 10 years down the line. So I think it's worked for both sides. I think the part maybe not everybody sees is just the individuals in the business, and what we've enjoyed is the stability of AWE, people that we've worked with throughout that time. There's no chopping and changing. You've got some real loyal bodies here, some great brains, people that we can kind of leave to run the business on our behalf at times, because we know you do a good job, and that passion is there, that knowledge is there, the enthusiasm is there, and that's what we need from a committed partner to help deliver the business and fill in the gaps that we can't cover entirely by ourselves.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because business, well, the economy changes, business changes. I think part of our history is the evolution of the business able to focus on different things, but there's long periods of time where there's directions of travel, and global factors maybe change things. If the economy is harder, business is harder, but I think that's when partnerships really come to the front as well. So we're going to go out and do everything we can, with the tools you give us, and vice versa, working together to make things happen. So talking about changes of direction, where Chris, is there a sort of like a wow moment in recent history where something technology wise, as you've just looked at, even though you've had 25 years in the industry?
Yeah, I think I'm not going to speak for Paul, but for both Paul and I, we work in Epson video projection, and not only do we do the residential side of things, we do the commercial side of things as well. And it's the varied use or varied applications and solutions that we get involved in on a day-to-day basis. So give you an example, today we're obviously in this wonderful demonstration room demonstrating the QL 7000, but Friday I'm in a crematorium demonstrating projection into an immersive space.
It's going to be a really good Thursday by the sounds of it. Oh, okay. You're looking at projection in a crematorium.
Projection in a crematorium.
Immersive space?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are the weird and wonderful places that projection is getting put into these days, and it's just a variation that we have in our roles these days.
Yeah, I think it's the proving ground for the technology as well. We see things go both ways. Sometimes things come into the home cinema market first, and we're able to take those technologies into business spaces and high brightness. And then flip side of that, of course, there's things that we'll be able to prove with the lens range, the high brightness tech, that actually we are finding very credible homes for now within residential spaces. So that crossover, that sharing of technology that we're able to achieve, and that sits all under the same team under one house. I think there's real synergies there that are helping drive both sides of the business.
Paul, the events and things that, like EI Live, AWE Expo, have you found those?
It's a massive part of what we do with our marketing spend every year is events, and that's across the board on the high brightness products, on the Pro Home Cinema as well, because projection is a visual product and doesn't jump off of a spec sheet. Sometimes differences are quite subtle. Improvements over time can be seen as quite minor on a spec sheet, but we all know it's very different when you turn the kit on in a room, put it in front of people, and pair it up with all the other kit that goes around it, because of course we only provide the projectors. We need a good screen, we need a good sound system, we need the amp, the control, and that can be done really well on event spaces to show people what the full solution can look like. And we all know that people then will sink into that, just enjoy it, the emotional attachment you get to watching a good clip. You could spend all day sat there in a good theatre and forget that you're there at an event. So it's important for us to be out there, reaching out to people, take that opportunity to meet as many people as we can in one go. Yes, everybody's got limited resource these days. We can only get around so many individual visits and customers and the like. So events is really important to bring people together, share knowledge, get feedback going both ways, and we try and involve some of our European colleagues as well to make sure there's that flow of information back all the way to factory, so that the next generation of products brings something even newer to the market that the market has asked for.
Exactly, because I think it's important when you're meeting with customers, especially when we get factory members together with the products, with the people who are actually integrating. It's very powerful, I think, to information that can go back. We know sometimes you can say things so many times, but actually it's when the engineers hear it from someone that's actually integrating or using it, it makes a big difference. I think that's another way those in-person events work really well. The other thing I think with an in-person event, we're selling experiences and demonstrating products in person is essential. Specs are only specs.
It's an emotional attachment is the way I've always seen it. My early enjoyment of projection, joining Epson, being able to take kit home with me and just set it up in the bedroom and lie back and put a movie on the wall,
Yeah.
it was quite transformative to understand the technology and be drawn into it and start to know and love it and be able to enthuse about it when talking to others.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, exactly that. That's what you can then replicate within events.
Yeah.
I think going back to our stand at ISE this year, you could see from the design and flow of the stand it was solution led rather than speeds and feeds and hardware led, which maybe, you know, going back years, maybe we concentrated on that a little too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? People need to see it, they need to demonstrate, they need to feel it, they need to experience it.
Yeah. And that's all part of what the partnership brings together. So feels like a good place to wrap up. Thank you very much for your support over the years, but also going forward, we've got some exciting things planned for the rest of the year, and we'll be flying stuff into homes near you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Stuart.
Cheers, bye.